What's up, fellas? So today I just wanted to share with you 3 fails that I had recently. And let's not call them failures, let's call them learning opportunities, because that just sounds better. And I like it. So anyways, the first one, if you remember, I recently got 8 green chromis. Only 3 of them survived. I thought that they had been poisoned from high ammonia levels in the quarantine tank. And so then I got, I think I got 6. Yeah, I got 6 green chromis after that. And the next day after I got them, I checked on the quarantine tank, and all of them except for 1 were dead. So I just have 1 alive. So I checked the water parameters, and everything was good. Ammonia levels were, ammonia was 0 actually. Ammonia was all the way down. Nitrates were 0. Everything was good. So last time I thought that I had killed them from high ammonia levels, but that wasn't the case this time. So it got me thinking, what could have possibly killed my chromis? And the conclusion I came to is it was probably stress. So here's what I mean by that. I bought the fish at the LFS. They scoop them up, put them in the bag. I bring them home. I float them for a little while, and then I put them into that bucket with the safety stop, the first bath. Then I scoop them up again, put them in their other bucket for the second half of their safety stop bath. And then after about 30 minutes, I scoop them up another time and put them into the quarantine tank. So that's a lot of moving around and a lot of stress on them. So that's the only thing I can think of, because everything else seemed perfectly fine. All the water parameters were perfect. So I'm really thinking it was stress that killed them, which also got me thinking that stress was probably a big cause of what killed my first group of green chromis. And maybe the high levels of ammonia was just kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back, that's what pushed it over the edge. So anyways, then I let that last surviving green chromis sit in the quarantine tank for another 2 or 3 weeks, something like that. And then finally I just decided to move him into the display tank. And he's been getting along pretty well with the others. He was a little bit picked on for a while. He was about half the size of the rest, so he was kind of the runt. But they're all getting along really well now. So that gives me 4 green chromis in the display tank, but I still want more. I'm really hoping to have a nice little school of at least 7 in here. So I went back to my LFS after I moved this guy into the display tank, and I got 3 more. But before I did that, I upgraded the quarantine tank filter. I cycled some more rocks to put in it to help with the bacteria, just in case. Then I painted 3 sides of the quarantine tank black to give them a little more privacy and make them feel a little more comfortable and less exposed. That's one thing I read online that I didn't really think would be an issue before, is if you paint the sides of it except for one so you can still see them, it makes them feel a little bit more secure. They're not so exposed, they don't feel so open. So it's going to be a lot less stressful for them. And then, like I said, I went to my LFS and I got 3 more green chromis, and they've been in the quarantine tank for maybe a week or so, and they're doing really good. And this time I just skipped the safety stop bath. I decided it was probably just too stressful having them scooped up at the store, bringing them home, scooping them up back and forth in between the buckets. So this time I just floated them and then put them into the quarantine tank. And they seem like they're doing a lot better this time around. So the second learning opportunity has to do with the RODI filter. I noticed the DI resin was getting kind of brown and ugly looking, and my TDS was getting a little bit higher. So I hopped onto BRS and I bought one of their kits that comes with 2 carbon blocks, a sediment filter, and some DI resin. And I replaced the DI resin, that went well. But if you remember, the filter I bought was off of Amazon, and it wasn't one that typically is used for aquariums. So the second learning opportunity was not checking to make sure that these were the same size as my filter requires. My filter is actually a little bit bigger. These are just slightly too small. So these are useless, which sucks, but fortunately I can still use the DI resin. And I found the website where I can buy the ones that are specifically made for this filter, and they're about the same price as this kit. So it's not that big a deal, and I'm sure I can find someone who can use these. So the third learning opportunity has to do with my refugium and the Cato. And basically it's gone. Over several weeks, I noticed my Cato was starting to look more and more mushy, kind of getting brown and looking just really gross, kind of deteriorating. So I eventually just pulled it out. And I was trying to find out why it would do that. And there were so many answers I came across online. Some of them were too much light or too strong of light, or the light's not strong enough, too high of flow, not enough flow. It could also be there's not enough nutrients in the water, which is what I'm thinking is the most likely cause. Because, I mean, I only have a handful of fish in there. There's not a whole lot of waste and nutrients going into the water that could be absorbed by the chaeto. The other problem I had was I was growing a lot of hair algae in the refugium. It was getting pretty bad. I stuck a couple snails down there to eat it all up, and they did pretty good. I also turned the lights off under there, the refugium lights. Since I didn't have the chaeto anymore, I didn't need to light it up, and so now all the algae's gone, it all died off and it's good. The other thing I did is I removed the dual reactor that I had under there. It used to have GFO and carbon in it, which is another reason it might have died, because the GFO is removing phosphates, which is, as I understand, that's what a lot of what chaeto will absorb is the phosphates. So with the GFO taking up all the phosphates, there's less for the chaeto. So I removed that, and I haven't had any issues. I'll probably add it later if I feel the need to, but I don't think there's enough phosphates and other nutrients for it to absorb in such a new tank with such a small stocking at the moment. So I just took it out completely, and everything's been fine. So we'll just wait and see what happens later down the road and see if I need to put it back in. So anyways, those were my 3 learning opportunities I wanted to share with you guys. And I read a lot of articles on saltwater tanks, and I watch a lot of videos, but it seems like no matter how much I learn, there's really no substitution for actual experience. Because I thought everything I was doing was in the best interest of my fish tank and my fish, but obviously I'm making mistakes, and it's just what comes with experience, and it comes with the hobby. So, you know, I just learn a little bit every day, and just move on and try to improve. So anyways, if you like this video, hit the like button, and if you have any questions or comments, put those down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Then I painted, let's see, yeah,